Hi guys, my name is Heather and welcome to Strings and Threads. I'm so glad you joined me today. This is going to be a new episode for me. Every month I'm going to do something called monthly makes. I know lots of stations do this. This is my first time to do it, so I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything. So I used this wonderful dragon book that I got from my friend Sarah, and she gave this to me to put notes in. So I have notes here of everything I wanted to talk to you guys about, because everything I did in a month, I didn't want to forget anything and try and do it for memory. So bear with me, as this is my first time to do something like this, as I start learning and getting more comfortable with doing this kind of thing. So I'm going to start with finished objects. The first thing I want to talk about is that many of you who have been to my station for a while know that my family loves to go to Gen Con, which is a gaming convention in Indianapolis every summer. And my family is really big on board games and role-playing games, and Gen Con is generally more about role-playing and board games. They might have a little tiny thing on video games, but there's like almost nothing about video games there. It's mostly role-playing, board games, that type of thing. And they have lots of things to do there. So one of the things to do there is that you can take classes or seminars. And in the past, I've taken crochet classes. Last year, I took a class on how to spin yarn. So I kind of fiddle with that here and there, but I don't really have a lot of time to focus on that, so I haven't gotten good at it. But every once in a while, I'll kind of want to get it out again and play with it. But where I'm going with this is that last year, for the first time, I taught a class. I taught a class on how to make a dragon head dice bag. And it's a perfect place to do dice bag kind of crafts because it's a gamer thing. People need bags to put their dice in. And there's some very expensive dice out there. Vendors who sell those expensive dice are there. But I started putting together kits because this year I'm going to expand and do 3 classes. But I'll put a picture of the kits that I've been putting together. I started with the dragon head kits. And so I still have a few more dragon head kits to put together, and then I'm going to start on the second class. This year I'm going to do dragon head dice bag again, French fry dice bag, and frog dice bag. So that's the first thing, is that I consider that a finished object because I put together a lot of those kits, and those do take time. So the second thing is that I did 3 stitch tutorials this month. I'm hoping each month to be able to add more and more of those. I did the bushy shell stitch, the rocking stitch, and the primrose stitch. So if you're interested in learning how to do those stitches, those particular tutorials are just to learn how to do the stitch. They're not a project. Some of them I have turned into projects, and I'll talk about those. So the next thing that I did is I did 2 scrubbies this month. So with the rocking stitch, I did the rocking scrubby. And this is made with the Red Heart Scrubby yarn. This past month, I bought the Red Heart, it's the Yarnspirations mystery box. And for me, I'll never do it again because I got 9 skeins of yarn and 6 of them were the scrubby yarn. So that's enough to last me for my entire life. So I don't need to buy another one of those boxes because I don't need any more scrubby yarn. But this is a nice scrubby, and this is meant for your face. I was excited to get this done and try it, but then I realized I was going to do a monthly makes video, so I didn't try it yet. But I'm itching to put this in my shower and give it a try. So now I can do that. And then when I taught the primrose stitch, I made another scrubby with the primrose stitch. This one's a little bit larger. And I tried different borders on it. I can in the tutorial for this, there is a tutorial for this and the border. So this is how the Primrose stitch looks with the scrubby yarn. I thought it was really pretty. I thought the stitch really kind of stood out. And then I finished a washcloth pattern. I think a lot of you have seen it. I had a little short up about it where I was kind of putting it up in front of my face, trying to be silly. And so this is how the sloth washcloth turned out. Originally, what I was thinking of doing with washcloths, I also have a Patreon account. If you're interested in that, it's in my description. But what I was originally going to do, this is something that I work on with people on my Patreon account. They get the patterns for these as part of their membership. And I have worked my way up to 19 original washcloth, dishcloth patterns. They could be either, and so I'm going to call them, either. And I was going to do enough to publish a book, but I am really burned out on trying to come up with more patterns for washcloths. So I think what I'm going to do is take these 19 patterns, put them into a digital book and sell them on Etsy. In order for me to sell another book on Amazon like this, that would be in a printed form, I would need more than just the 19 because otherwise I don't know that it would be worth the value for the person buying it. And also the books have to be a certain number of pages on Amazon. And so in the past, when I've tried to get books published, they'd say, you need so many more pages to be able to fill your book. So I didn't want to go through all of that. So I think I'm just going to take these 19 and make a digital copy of the book and then sell that digital copy on Etsy because I can price it however I want and I can get that out there. If I decide in the future that I'm getting inspired to do more washcloths or dishcloths, then I will just start making them again, and I can always edit this book and add more onto it and then maybe make it into something that will go onto Amazon. But for now, I think that's the last one, the last actual, how do I want to say it, themed washcloth, dishcloth that I'm going to make for now. So another thing that I have been doing on my Patreon is we've been doing Miniature Monday, and it's making little miniatures of the things that we like. So I did end up making a miniature dragon head dice bag. These are just drawstring bags. I think that if you saw my Things We're Making Thursday video, you saw that this summer when I'm not working, I'm going to go back and edit the book and rebrand it as drawstring bag books, ditty bags. But these were really fun to make in mini form, and these would be really, really fun to hold your stitch markers or any kind of little treasures. I think kids would love these, big or small. And it does seal up nice. I use the paracord and toggle fastener. You don't have to use these. I know that most people don't use these when they make them, but from my experience, because I've made bags for my family, for my boys, once they open and close them enough to try and get to their stuff, the yarn ones just start to fray and fall apart. So that's what made me think to do the paracord and toggle fastener, and they've had no issues since I've done that. The turtle bag, I made a mini of that. And again, this does open and close. And then this one, I actually made a large and a small one. I had an old pattern of mine that has a tutorial for it here on YouTube. If you are interested in it, I have a link to it on my community tab. But it's an octopus emotional support, sensory, weighted fidget toy. So this is the big one. I decided to use blanket yarn to try it. And I had made one with just regular 4-weight yarn, but my niece, when she came over, This was probably right after I made it. I made this pattern probably about 2 years ago. When she came over, she saw it and she's like, I would like to have it. And don't tell her I said this, but I can't say no to her. So I gave it to her. So I no longer have one in a medium 4-weight yarn. But this is made with a blanket yarn, and it's weighted in that you probably saw me already playing with it. There are marbles, 3 marbles in each of the legs. And so you can fidget around with the marbles. And the one nice thing about this is that it's not a loud toy. Some of the fidgets that we've gone through in our house in the past have been like clicking and spinning, and they make lots of noise. This one is silent. And then I have dried beans and stuffing and marbles as well in the head. So I guess if you're squishing it, there's a little bit of noise to it, but it's nothing like some of those clicking ones. And you can put it on your shoulders, on your head. There's a picture of Roman having this on his head on my community tab because he just thought it felt so nice. If you're laying down, you can just put it on your chest, and it just gives you a little bit of that sensory pressure. So this is the bigger one, and then I also made that one in mini. But this mini one, I wouldn't call, maybe it could be a fidget toy if you were playing with the legs, but it's too small to put marbles in, so there's no marbles, and there's no special stuffing in the head. I just wanted to see how it would look in mini, so I made it in mini. So, amigurumi. There were 2 amigurumi that I did. I came up with the pattern, and there's a video tutorial for it on my channel as well. A frog amigurumi, and then of course I had to make it in mini as well. But I just love these. I think they're so cute. So again, there's a pattern for this. The written pattern's on Etsy, but the video tutorial is on my site. And then the other one, this was something that I did for Patreon. So the people who were members of my Patreon received this pattern as part of their subscription. But this is a sloth bag. So it's a sloth, and you can have it hanging or you don't have to. I sewed the hands and feet shut on it so that it could hang, but you don't have to do that. And he's wearing a backpack, so you can put little treasures in the backpack. It's sealed with the toggle fastener and the paracord. And I just thought this would be so cool for anybody, but I know that kids would absolutely adore this, being able to put their little treasure in here, but then still have their toy to play with. And then it also can be out of the way. You can hang it up somewhere in the room, and it won't be cluttering your floor. So that was for that. Wearables. I did get one wearable done. And that was, I'm sorry, I was looking down extra long. I was just making sure I didn't skip anything. Thank you for bearing with me as I'm new to doing this kind of show and tell type of thing. So this was made with the yarn art, and I've shown that before. And this is Crystal from Hook That Yarn's top down design. And here's how it turned out. And through the magic of editing, I'm going to show you how it looks on me. And let me bring it down so you can see how it looks on me. It doesn't go with these pants. Ignore my pants. But I'm really happy. I have done a few shirts with this top-down design, and it works out perfectly every time. So I'm just really happy with it. And let me look down again. Okay, I was doing a Giving Sunday and showing. So here's the progress that I've made with that. What Giving Sunday was just basically making something to donate. And so right now I'm currently making lapgan blankets, which are just smaller blankets that you would put over your lap while you're getting chemo treatment at a cancer center. They don't have to only be for chemo treatments, but that's what I'm giving. I'm going to give it to my local cancer center. I did finish one blanket, and I'm calling it the block stitch lapgan, and I have a tutorial for this on my YouTube channel, but I just thought this was really pretty. And this worked up pretty quickly, especially when you see my works in progress, especially compared to the next one that I picked, which is too slow. And then I started making squares because when I did the video saying that I was going to go from doing weekly wearables and weekly Giving Sundays to just once a month showing, I had a bunch of people reach out to me and say that they would love to donate squares to me so that I can make more blankets to give, so it's not like I would go in and just have one or two to give them that I've made. So I said that I would make the squares too. I've been using the Red Heart Granny Square. If you wanted to also give squares, you can get in contact with me, and you don't have to use this, but I would say use like medium weight acrylic yarn. I think it would be kind of fun to mix and match different colors and different squares. It would be kind of fun to get something colorful and unique. So, but since I happen to have that, I decided I would work up those squares. So I have a whole stack of these squares. This isn't enough for a lapgan yet, but we'll see how many I can make and how many people are able to send me to see where that goes. So that leaves, this is something I made this month, even though it is something for Patreon. Well, over on my Patreon, part of the membership, if you are a member of my channel over on Patreon, you get at least 2 free patterns a month. And I do a giveaway every month, and we do weekly videos. And I think that's everything. But usually I'll make something for the giveaway. So this month I made a sensory cat. And it's not meant to be like a realistic cat. It's really meant to be a sensory toy. And this weighted because there's beans and marbles in the belly. And so it's meant to be like a lovey where you're laying down and you let the pressure of the cat kind of relax you and calm you down. It feels good. I'm sorry. I enjoy it too. Roman used to have a weighted blanket, but he used it so much. He had it probably a good 10 years that it started to fall apart, and he doesn't have one anymore. What he does is our couch, one of our couches in our house, he takes all the cushions off. He gets underneath where the cushions would go, and then he piles the cushions on top of him. But I can definitely relate. When he had the weighted blanket, sometimes I would borrow it while he was at school and just kind of lay in it. There is something comforting about having a little bit of weight on you. So this is this month's giveaway. Next month, I already told the people on Patreon so they know, I've made quite a few miniatures because we've been doing the Miniature Monday at least since New Year. So next month, the giveaway is going to be that everybody's going to get 2 random minis that I had made. So if you're interested in that, the information for it is in my description. You might have to scroll a little bit because there's a lot to put in my description, but it is in there if you were interested in that. Okay, I think that's all of the finished objects. For whips, I'll start with the blanket. I decided to use the Alpine stitch, which I adore, but it is working up so slowly. I've probably been working on this for 3 weeks, and I take it to work and I work on my break on it, and you can see it is a really, really pretty stitch, but I have a long way to go with it. I was partly thinking maybe I could just cheat and put like a fancy border on it and say it's a shawl, but it's not even quite, I don't think it wraps around enough to say that this is a shawl. It's really the right size to be a blanket. So I guess I'm just going to keep plugging away at this. But it, you know, here's where it is so far. And hopefully the person who gets it really loves it because there was a lot of work that went into that. All right, the new wearable that I'm working on is called the Cande shirt. I believe that's how it's pronounced. It's spelled Cande. And I thought I got the, oh, I did not get the pattern out. Oh, I bought this pattern on Ravelry, or not Ravelry, Etsy. I believe it is on Ravelry as well. But if you wanted to write down her name, I'm not going to try to attempt to say it. But it's really pretty and it has this really nice lacy design on it. The one thing I do have to say, the pattern was $10. And I can see now, when I hesitated to buy it because I thought that was kind of expensive for a pattern. But I can see why she would charge that much. It is a very, very detailed pattern. There's good pictures in it. And you could tell to know how to make the right sizing. She has this for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different sizes. And she also offers it in multiple languages. So I can see why. I don't get to Hobby Lobby very often, but I was able to sneak away to Hobby Lobby because I wanted to get just the right yarn for this. And they didn't, I was disappointed because they didn't have a huge selection of nicer things. I've been there before where I've seen a lot more, but I decided to go with the Yarn Bee Authentic Hand Dyed, and this is how it looked. I don't know why, like in my mind, I was thinking that it was going to be in sections. So like one, you'd have a block of the blue and then a block of this. This was actually the only color that had enough skeins for me to make this. There were some other colors that I probably would have chosen over this. Not that this is ugly. This is really pretty. And that's why I still ended up buying it. It's still really pretty. But there were other ones I would have chosen over this one, but they did not have enough skeins there. I needed to get, I believe it was 5 of these. And the other ones only had 3 or 4. Some of them had 1 or 2. So I couldn't get the other colors. But then when I caked it up, here's how it looks caked up. It's very variegated. And so I'll show you what I have so far. This is another pattern that's a little bit tedious. You really have to pay attention when you're making it. So I'm not sure how far I'm going to get on it next month. We'll see. I've gotten to the point, I'll show you on this picture. I've done the first lacy row, and then I've done a couple rows, and then I'm on the very first row of this lacy part. So I'm just doing the tip of the, I'm going to call it a upside down V because I don't know what else to call it. So that's where I've left off on it. And I'm not making it long sleeved, I'm making it short sleeved. But it's really difficult with this variegation to see the lacy part. So this is the first lacy row. You can kind of see it against the background where it is. And then you can see where there's 1 dot there, and then 1 dot there, and 1 dot there. So I'm a little disappointed in how this is working up, but I'm going to keep going with it. And if you don't see the pattern on it, it's probably still just going to be a nice sweater to wear. And maybe I'll make another one and just know to get a yarn that's all one color. Yeah, the way that this isn't caked, I forget what they call this, but the way they put this together, in my mind, I was like, okay, there's going to be blocks of color in this. But that's the way it goes. All right, another whip that I have. The end of the school year is coming, and one of the teachers that I work with, we work really well together, and I wanted to make her something special. A long time ago, I went to Joann's a long time ago, and they were having a sale on these. I don't know, do they still make these? I'm not sure. I don't remember what I paid for it, but whatever it was, I thought it was a really good price, and I liked the color. They only had basically one of each color left because it was almost gone. It was such a good sale that they were almost gone. So I was only able to get one of these, and then I got two other ones like this, but they're only one skein. One is like a pink variegation, the other one's like a blue variegation. But I pulled this out, and I thought I would make her a lightweight shawl, because if she was ever going to wear it to school, it would be way too hot. So here's what I've got so far. This is not my pattern. It is, and I forgot to write that part down. I'm going to go and write that down and get back to you. Okay, it's called the Easy Rectangular Shawl by Desert Blossom Crafts. And it is very easy. Once you get the pattern, I don't even have to look at the pattern anymore. Now I know how to do it. And it's very lacy, very lightweight. I think it's going to be really pretty. And it's supposed to work up fairly big. So it wraps around you. It's not just a shorter shawl. It's almost like as long as a shirt would be. And then you wrap it around. So I'm excited about that. And then I have two other behind the scenes whips. These are going to probably just be mentions because, and I've talked about them before, I want at Christmas time to do a crochet along advent. So I am coming up with a pattern, and I've come up with a pattern for the one on YouTube. I'm going to do a separate one that I have sketched up, but I haven't started yet for Patreon. So the one for YouTube is where in November I'll show you what kind of materials you're going to need for this project. And then in December, every day, I will give you a new clue to that project. And by the 24th day, then it'll be finished and you'll have that. I thought that would be fun. For Patreon, it's going to be a little different. I am going to make up kits for them. So I'm going to come up with the pattern and also the material that you need for that pattern. And I'll send them the material that they need for the pattern, and then I'll send them 24 clues in little envelopes. And then on the I think for them, I'm going to have them finish on the 23rd, and then the 24th, when they open it, it will be a full pattern for what they've made. So that the Patreon is a little bit different, but the one that I'm doing for YouTube is what I explained. And so I've been working little by little on that. I really need the full year to do something like that. Last year, believe it or not, I was making Christmas things starting probably in May, just so that I would have that content. I was making it, filming it, and then posting it to be released in December, because I knew that the fall is a very busy time for my family. My boys are both in the high school marching band, and that keeps us busy all fall. And I didn't want to come up against Christmas and not have anything. So this is everything. I hope that this video went well. I hope it was what you were expecting from a monthly makes. And please, thank you for sticking with me, especially if you made it this far in, because you watched the whole thing. And I really do appreciate that, especially me fumbling over everything, trying to figure out what to say and where to put everything. So thank you again for watching, and thank you for being such loyal friends. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.